You know, I almost made a video this morning at 8 o'clock. There's few things that feel better than having a good night, winning a race. Obviously, we did with Maestro. And then waking up the next day knowing, excited because you have a lot of horses to school or qualify, in this case, train, that are getting closer to the races. Coming off a good day training and then getting to the barn and it's sunny. It's nice out. And as a horse person, that's just about as good as it feels. Coming off a good day, optimistically going into another day. At that moment at 8 o'clock, it felt great, and you don't always get those days, right? And I'm a little bit older now, and obviously I try to make a mental note anytime you can just take 5-10 minutes to just appreciate how things are going at that moment, that snapshot in time. Now, it can all change. We're in the horse racing business. It can change like that. And today wasn't perfect. It was really good. And I don't think there was any shocking surprises. I'm obviously talking about Full Heart making a break. The break, truthfully, they could have given her an IX. I thought they didn't have to, but I thought it was kind of chintzy not to. I was just moving out to go around that kid, and he made a break, and I did check her a little bit, and she did roll off. Did she need to? No. Not in the least. In fact, I know exactly what she was doing. The reason I moved her, she was looking to try and get herself in trouble. She was going to climb up on top of him. And she's marginally matured. But when you factor in what you have to do to be an effective racehorse, I don't care what class you're in as a 3-year-old. These aren't 2-year-olds. These are sophomores. 59, 2 minutes, and do it relatively wisely. You can't be running away and making breaks. And I fed her into the gate slow. I tried to keep her quiet going around the first turn. She shouldn't have run where she made a break, but overall, I don't see enough forward progression in Full Heart for me to look at our clients and say, we collectively should continue on. Now that sucks because the stake payments obviously were made yesterday. We only paid her into the Buckeye and the Fairs, which, depending on the route we decide to sell her, that will come in handy. Now, Preferred Equine has a sale on Monday, but is that the route we want to take? And the reason I'm saying this is because Enos heard, I went down and talked to Enos about the filly, and he said, he offered us 12.5 for it, which I thought was low. And obviously, he can't help his Amish nature. he's gonna try and lowball you. And I was gonna come in a little higher at 18. And I think the real number we can probably settle on is 14. Now that does suck a bit because we did just stake her yesterday. And truthfully speaking, we can easily just qualify her with the hobbles on and see what she is, but I can tell you what she is, especially after schooling and qualifying other horses that she is going to be racing in the same class with right now, just in our barn alone. She's going to find it problematic moving forward. So I guess, although the timing isn't the greatest, this is where I would say we should take a look at selling Full Heart, and how we go about doing that is open for interpretation, open for discussion. There. That being said, the only other horse that I thought was a little flat today, High Enterprise, was a little flat. As she gets stretched a little bit, following Coupe de Ville. Coupe, I had already trained at 2-1, and I knew that High Enterprise was not going to be a big fan of that right now. So I get over the half, we get up to the quarter and 32 and a piece, half and 102 and a bit, 103, 1 mile and 2-1, and High Enterprise made a break coming out of the last turn. And Jason Merriman was going with High Enterprise, and he tried to explain to me what she did, and he didn't have to explain to me what she did. I know what she did. She tried to pull up because she was tired and didn't want to do her work. That was her MO, and quite frankly, in defense of the filly, and no disrespect meant, but a lot of the enterprises I've noticed have a tendency to look for the exits the first time any tension is around them. Now, maybe that's a filly thing, maybe that's a young horse thing. I have no idea, but it is a thing. And it's something that frustrates me to no end. But again, remember what I had said. Nothing happened today that I was too shocked about, right? Nothing took place today that I was overly surprised about. I'm just going to get my easy pass to work here. I put it in a stupid place on my window. Of course you'd fall. I didn't realize it was bad when I put it up there. That's where I think they told me to put it, but I put it there, and the readers don't always pick it up. Okay, so the only downside of the entire day, the break by full heart, and like I said, we could go out and qualifier in 2-2, 2-1 next week, but that's not getting you anywhere, right? That's not going to get you to the winner's circle in a maiden, a Buckeye, a fair, or any of the above, because ultimately her biggest problem is not a lack of speed, but a lack of the willingness to use her brain while producing that speed. So that hasn't changed. It's changed marginally, moderately from last year, but not completely. In high enterprise, not rude or ignorant, not a runaway, but definitely rude and ignorant in a different way. So those two fillies were letdowns today. Full Heart, I believe, is worth as much or more to the fellow with the beard that choose their horses. And High Enterprise, unfortunately, will have to get a qualifying line and be sold as a racehorse. But those two horses, if you were to put a gun to my head today and say, hey, I need two horses that aren't going to make it this year, they'll make it. They'll race. Neither of them, I don't think, will be super effective. So that was the buzzkill for today, but not shocking. It's not like somebody gave me this outlandish story. I'm like, can you believe that those two fillies weren't great today? Yeah. They've been training okay, but really when push comes to shove, this is what we went through last year. And this is what I said about High Enterprise when she trained good in like 212 3 weeks ago, that she would have to do a lot better to impress me, because I know where she came from and what she's been up to. And she was not going to fool me twice. So we'll see. High Enterprise will be in the qualify next week, and I think we should focus on selling Full Heart. Now there is the buzzkill of the day. And it really wasn't that bad because we had our suspicions. Anyway, so let's get to what actually went well today, which was everything else. The babies I saw looked good. Sweeney had made a break yesterday, and I kind of tinkered with the idea of maybe even going back and training him, and I talked to Jason Merriman and went with him. He said, no, just a spray in the mud. And he's got that crazy bull strength. So if you spook him, he might just rip the cross ties down and drag you out the door. And that's how he is. So I told everybody we probably should start jogging him in an open bridle. He's not dumb. He's a little dumb. But he absorbs things. He understands things. On the track, he is perfect. You can do whatever you want with Sweeney. In the mile, all around the track, everything on the track is perfect. Getting him there, he's not bad. He's not bad. He was better today. So I put an open happy bridle on him today, knowing full well that it could have ended a number of bad ways, but I didn't want anybody else in the barn to try it. And I wanted him to start seeing everything. Put the open bridle on, he walked out the door, over to the track, and jogged, just like he'd worn that open bridle 100 times. Once in a while you see a horse do that, but not very often. I was very surprised to see Sweeney act so good today. So got to jog Sweeney and actually turned him. No head check, just an open happy bridle, no boots, no nothing. And I didn't go a mile. I might have went a mile in 3 minutes, but the way he went about doing his mile, because he had that open bridle on and they were working on the tote board. So a lot of the horses just stayed. Arson, of course, it looked like he thought he was under attack every time he went by those people working on the tote board. That's just him, and some of the horses looked at it, but I was so surprised. Sweeney gave them one glance the first time around, and the next two times he went around, he didn't even notice them, didn't even look at them. He is a weird horse, but he looked very, very good today. Now, all of that aside, I kind of didn't put any of this in order, because what took place when I first got to the barn obviously tied in very well with the day we were having yesterday and last night and today. I was feeling great, so I went with what I wanted to go with, Austral Hanover. Put an open happy bridle on him for the first time. Now, he's a little bit of a goof sometimes too. Went a mile and a half with him. Now, this is important. I told you we're getting all the horses ready. So what we'll do is train them a stiff mile and a half at some point. Austral Hanover's was about 2 weeks ago. And I come on the last half in 104 in the jog cart. He trained good. Trained very, very good. But the next time we trained him, he was a little less good. He was a little rickety. Made a break on me in the straightaway. I thought his hobbles were a bit long, but again, he doesn't wear them tight. he used to a long time ago, but not anymore, and not throughout his 2-year-old season. So nobody trained on Saturday because of the track being closed here. So we go back Thursday. Now we're going on a full week since he trained hard. No, 8 days since he trained hard. When I thought he trained a little flat. 8 days to cool down, 8 days to work on his joints, put a little scurf, a little blister on his knees, hocks, and stifles. Different horse today. So that's very telling in the sense that we pushed him 2 weeks ago. The next time we trained him, he wasn't as good. And then the next time, 8 days later, he was good again. That leads me to believe that maybe we pushed him a little past his comfort zone, which isn't the end of the world. He's an athlete. But knowing that is where his red line was starting 2 weeks ago leads me to believe that he is actually another 2 or 3 stiffer training trips from going in the race bike. And every horse is different. And we'll get to that in a minute. And that will be on display here in just a moment. So, Austral Hanover trained great today. Last half in 104 on the jog cart again. Felt great afterwards. Now, obviously, I'm interested in how he feels next week. So, he was great today. Ate his lunch. Looked great. Cindy loves the horse just as much as I do. And he was a treat to go with. Now, I told you guys one of the most impressive training miles I saw from last week was leaps and bounds. I stretched her out good. Now, she was in hand in the grips, but still a fast mile. How would she look today? Because she's widely looked upon as a bit of a shallow filly, right? Not as deep as the other horses, just kind of so-so present. But how is she today? And how is she today? I went out, turned her, went a first half in 120, and went a second half in 109. A little bit quicker than I wanted to go, but she felt really, really good. So we get ready for the last lap. She hooks on. She wants to. That's why everybody was slowing down. There's cops up here. She wants to get at it, and I don't want to double her up, but at the same token, I don't want to empty her out either, right? This is a filly. I don't want to. She's never trained great at 1.5 miles, ever in her life. Do I really want to stretch this filly out today? Probably not. But I did cut her loose a little bit down the backstretch, around the last turn. She still wants to get at it. This is very unlike her. And I let her trot, again, coming out of the turn. I growl at her halfway down the lane, click my watch, going under the wire. 2:09 and 3 in the jog cart. That's the last half in a minute. In a jog cart. That's the last half in a minute. In a jog cart at 1.5 miles. On a day it was still a little chilly. After Austral's race, I had spring and fall gloves that I drove in last night. And I went back in and put my winter gloves on. So it was still a little nippy out. And again, of all the horses that look great today, I'll get to that. We had some horses that look very good today, but seeing the progression of this filly and how she was after, couldn't blow a match out. Very, very rare that this filly would train at a distance this strong and not come in and look like she was a little winded. She's ready to qualify right now, and she looked extremely good this morning again. Now, there's such a difference in times. We'll get to that in a second, but how leaps and bounds looked, again, kind of floored me today. Now, we're going to have people say, Anthony, why did we hang on to Full Heart so long if we were just going to sell her anyway? It's a great question. Why did we hang on to High Enterprise? Well, the other side of that coin is horses like Leaps and Bounds, although she wasn't obviously as bad as Full Heart and High Enterprise, but there was another horse that I'm going to talk about in a minute that was every bit as bad as them, and he looked very good today. So, Austral Hanover was great. Leaps and Bounds was tremendous. We went out and trained Buzz and Cutie. Now, Buzz is getting much closer, ready to go, very similar to Austral. Cutie's maybe a week or two behind them, and a big, heavy filly. So, again, you don't want to stretch her too thin. We went a half in 19, second half in 111, last half in 104, 103, 1 mile and 215, 214 in a bit. And Buzz was in the grips. He wanted to go more. And Cutie, that's exactly where we needed to go with her. We'll come back with her next week. I just want to see her start to recover well and train week after week after week better, right? You don't want to see that regression. I don't want to train her in 7 days and say to myself, geez, maybe we went too much with her last week. That would mean that she's not going to be ready for another 3-4 weeks. So you can see how every single horse is a little bit different. Every single one. So Cutie and Buzz were great. Buzz can probably win the bike and go a mile in 2:3, 2:2 right now, whereas Cutie is 2 weeks from doing that, I believe. And I can give you a much better idea of that as we get into next week's training. But for right now, I believe Buzz is ready to qualify, or whenever we want, which is he's not ready to find a class just yet. But Buzz is pretty well ready to go, and Cutie Cumber is about 2-3 weeks away. So that was the morning training. This guy followed a car for 3 miles and pulled him over. Wow. This could be worse. Could have been me. So just really, really happy with the way the trainers went. Now, before the qualifiers, I wanted to get in a training of Patrick the Piranha. He had tied up a little bit last week. Not shocking. He's a lunatic. Now, not crazy. Obviously, he's a fast horse. But you saw him in the Gold Cup and Saucer post-parade, if you're one of our clients, throwing his head and leaping. That's him. He's just a goof. So Cindy's done a great job. Cindy Goldwater, one of our caretakers. Lauren, Sarah, Cindy. Everybody works so great. And they all care about their horses, and that's very, very hard to find in this business. And Cindy went and put the horse on the walker, walked him this morning, then brought him back off the walker, let him pee, put him back out there, jogged him for 15 minutes. I went out, jogged him 1 lap, turned him, and galloped him. Now, the reason I galloped him was, as I said to you last week when I trained him, he felt like he wanted to run, but not in a bad way. You could feel horses that have galloped in the past. Now, I guess I should explain that better, because we don't do a lot of it anymore. We do for some horses. But horses that interfere, horses that get really hot, or just need to be in a little more comfortable setting, will literally, as it sounds, run them. We'll gallop them. We don't do a lot of it. Some of the other trainers here, that's all they do for the racehorses. Billy Rhodes and Corey Kreiserman is here. They run them real hard. I didn't want to run them hard. I just wanted, and galloping's not like training. Galloping, obviously, is a natural gait. They can do it quite quickly. I galloped Patrick the Piranha in 2:3 last half in 58, and I never spoke to him once. He came off the track. He was playing around and feeling good. So clearly, he's on the right road moving forward. We'll probably gallop him twice a week for the next 2 weeks. Put him in the bike, go a mile in 2:2, 2:3 with him, and then gauge him. But I suspect he'll be ready to go. He wasn't out that long, and he always keeps pretty good shape. He's a wiry bugger, so he always keeps his shape pretty good. So Patrick the Piranha went. Now we just hit the qualifiers. Full Heart made that break. Did she get interfered with? Yes, a little bit. But even if she had won a flat mile in 2:4 today, I probably would have wanted to go back in with the hobbles on. She just touching herself behind, and as soon as she starts doing that, then she loses her mind. It's the same old, it's Full Heart. So, and again, it's important. This conversation is important here. Well, you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So, Full Heart makes a break, and I'm a little bummed out, but I'm like, are you really, really shocked? So we go to schoolers. First schooler hit, oh my gosh, Columbus and Swinging Senorita, and a lot of people out on the track today schooling. I put oh my gosh right on the car, cross over to the lead. A young man got in behind me with a pacer, and I thought he was going to step all over my wheel. He moved coming to the half. We get over the half in 101. And here comes Swinging Senorita. She cleared the lead down the lane. It was gone. Mile in like 59, last half 57. And I got back up the inside with who I had on the front. I had let the young man go coming to the half. I had, oh my gosh, 101, a mile in 2 minutes and 2/5 with him today. I let the young man go, and I come back up the inside and beat him. Finished maybe 3-4 lengths behind Swinging Senorita. She was awesome. Again, our plan is still the same as it was before. Have her ready for the Hackett. So it's the 16th. We might qualify her next week and go back her up to 2 minutes, then qualify her in like 57, which would be the 3rd of April. If there's a class for her somewhere. She only has 3 wins, so there is a class. I think she only has 3 wins. Now there's a 4 for sure she fits, which if she qualifies as well as I expect her to, she can fit a class at Miami Valley, she can fit a class at Northfield, she can fit a class at the Meadows, anywhere we want to race her. So I guess the biggest takeaway from her today was that she was awesome. Very, very good today. The story of the whole schooler, though, was how good Oh My Gosh was. And this is because we can't always just assume the horses are going to be no good at 3 and get rid of them. We've talked about Oh My Gosh. It's not like he's been on some list where like, oh, I can't wait till Oh My Gosh qualifies. It'd be so awesome. He was on the same list as Full Heart and High Enterprise, and the 4 that were down training with Aaron. Now, Oh My Gosh was very good. Lost a shoe too somewhere. So last half 59 a mile in 2 minutes. He felt pretty good. So he's ready to qualify. Columbus also in that fray. Eric got to take him off the gate. Very un-Columbus-like. Followed along. He said he was over the half at 105, 1 mile and 2.5. He thought the hobbles were tight. Now this is one horse that I thought there was a decent chance he'd qualify with no hobbles on this year. He certainly doesn't need them on tight. So they just need to be let out. But he said he finished up pretty good, really, to be honest. So we'll come back with a qualifier with him also next week. I think he probably qualified 2 minutes 2-1. So Oh My Gosh. High Enterprise was in the last schooler with Coupe de Ville. Now the gate let us go slow. There were just us 2 on the gate. The gate let us go slow. We were at the 8th in 17 seconds, which is a quarter and 34. I let her trot over to the lead because she was a little steppy coming off the car, but steadied herself very well. I just kind of sat her in the 2 wide lane around the turn, 17 seconds, cleared off the lead, 33, half and 102 and 4, so 103. A mile and 2.2, and I was kind of waiting for High Enterprise in the last turn. Like, I don't want to double her up because she shuts her air off easy, but I don't want to empty her out either. So she finished up very strong, a mile and 2.2 last half, and 59 and a bit last quarter in 30 seconds. Easily. High Enterprise made a break coming out of the last turn, and he said she's running out coming out of the turn. I said, nope, she wasn't running out. Jason was 100% right. She was trying to pull up. Jason McGinnis was watching, and he said, no, she was running out. She was trying to pull up. And you could see her, what she was doing coming out of the turn. She was just being, a lazy slob that, got tired and just decided she would rather look for exits anywhere they were than bear down and do her work. And that's been her MO since day one. It's very upsetting. This is a filly that, truthfully speaking, right up until her her first race, we thought that she was a sire stake filly. We thought she was a very good horse. She won her qualifier by 20 lengths in 2-2. And she'll qualify in 2-1 next week. But she won't be staying very long. Both her and Full Heart probably need to leave. Oh My Gosh can stick around for a bit. Obviously, he looked very good today. Coupe de Ville looked very, very good today. And the thing I loved the most about Coupe de Ville was the way she went about her work. Very quiet. If you remember her last year, she was really hot, like a bull in a china shop hot. No hobbles on. Schooling her today. Didn't really get into her knee at all, so the shoeing change we made with Enos was perfect. So there were great takeaways from horses with a lot of question marks. There's 2 bad ones and definitely 2 good ones today. So I was very, very happy overall with the day. I believe we should probably move Full Heart. We are going to have to keep High Enterprise at least another week, qualify her, and at that point we can put her up for sale, I suspect. I don't see that leopard changing her spots anytime soon, but Oh My Gosh certainly did. Looks like he was better. Columbus looked pretty good also, so there's 2 bad, 2 good. So it certainly wasn't a loss today. So we'll work on all of that over the coming days and weeks, but just some real optimism as I left the barn today from Austral, Hanover, Leaps and Bounds, Cutie Cumber, Tailgate Buzz, Patrick the Piranha was great. Oh My Gosh, Columbus Swinging Senorita, for the most part, the day was tremendous. Now, somebody sent me an email and said, Anthony, World for Two's not in. Yes, I had said it in a video the other day, and I sent a note out to everybody. He's going to be in to go at Miami Valley coming this week. World for Two's class. There's an optional 50,000 claimer with allowances. He goes for 62.5. They went 54 and 1 last week. It's not fair to ask him to race against horses in the numbers of 1,500 that have $250,000 made, some of them. It's not fair for him to race against the likes of Hunted House if he has to. Although Hunted House and him are very similar, and he's actually got a better mark than Hunted House. I think Hunted House right now is a little more durable and a little tougher. I think he's ready to pace 51, 52, where it might take World for Two a few starts. And quite frankly, the class goes for $19,000 US in Miami Valley. That's more than they race for at Mohawk anyway. So it was kind of a no-brainer. I actually almost sent Hunted House, and I said, World for Two is probably a real good fit for for Miami Valley. And if they happen to scoop Whirl for 2 up, somebody really likes him and wants him, the gray fella won't be long behind him. That's a great class for both of those horses. So I'm always looking for the proper class, and that looks like a bullseye from where I stand for Whirl for 2. Cash Deals, a lot of people remembered I said that she bruised her leg and we gave her a day off. We were going to assess her yesterday. How was she? Her leg looked great. Now, I don't know if Mario's putting her in to go Sunday. I haven't talked to him yet. I talked to him yesterday. I talked to Amy and Emily. They all said the filly's leg looked great. I did not get a report about today, but obviously not getting a report in this instance, no news is good news. I suspect that she's back to 100%. Her leg is anyway. Very manageable. Will she race Sunday? That'll be up to Mario. I haven't talked to him just yet. Sister Solange and Blue Tessa. A lot of people scrambling around trying to sell shares and move their shares of their horses. Just relax. All right? Sister Solange got the rail at Saratoga. I suspect she'll do very well there. That maiden class, I believe she's in, if I'm not mistaken. Look, Megan said went 203 the other day. They raced for $8,700. So goes without saying why she's racing there and not in the race at the Poconos that went 57-3 last week. The most important thing for this filly is her appetite. Keep her confidence up and she'll continue to eat good. And the best way to keep her confidence up is put her in with horses that she can beat. So I stand 100% behind Megan putting this horse in the maiden, or the numbers 2, whatever that class is. I think it's a slam dunk and was a no-brainer. As far as Blue Tesla, Melissa and Mark were both very adamant that she has 3 wins in this class, and they don't believe that there's a way that she gets beat in this class. Now, there's always a way to get beat in horse racing, guaranteed. But all things being equal, they believe she's the best of this class. So she'll spend 1, 2, if not 3 starts, which hopefully all will be wins, in this class in Saratoga. She's drawn the 3-hole, I believe, also on Monday. The last little item to talk about is HB Maestro has lost this class. He's out of this class now. I think he might fit it once more, but with preferred sale being on Monday, coming off a win, we entered him in the preferred sale for Monday. So he has raced his last start for us and did it very well. Looked very, very good in winning last night at Northfield Park. So that is it. I'm on my way to drive one of my favorite horses to drive in Dustin Hanover. Somebody said, do you think you'll be leaving with him? Yeah, there's a good chance. I'm probably going to let him dance out of there a little bit. I'm going to go out of there with Dustin, probably get away close, sit him on a helmet, and I suspect he'll race very well for us today. He's another horse, a little bit like Sister Solange. Keep him under wraps, keep his confidence up, and he'll keep eating because I believe there's a real good horse in there. And I don't think we're going to see it just yet. But as long as we can see glimpses of him and have him do good along the way, then his chair, his stall, is safe at the stable.ca for sure. So, just having a wonderful week so far. The horses were, I guess since Tuesday afternoon, the horses were a little lackluster Tuesday. Very, very good Wednesday. HB Maestro won. Stomer Giacatti raced as well as he could have. He's coming back to Northfield Park. We're going to race Dustin Hanover now. We got lots of horses racing the rest of the week. And we will train the babies again in Ontario on Saturday. So, that is that. A little update for you guys. Not a little update, a big update for you guys. 28 minutes of it. But as I get closer to Pennsylvania, I'm moderately certain that I've updated you to everything I know now that's rattling around in my head about all the horses I believe you are aware of now. So with that, I'll let you go. I'll talk to you all very soon. I hope you're having a great day because, for the most part, we are. Take care.